Hey everyone. Oh shoot. 1 second. Alright. Okay. Hey everyone. Wandering Ghost here. And we are doing a AuthorTube Newbie tag video because I kind of just want to do one for this channel. I would really like to do something with this channel, and perhaps I'll move the writing over to this channel. But yeah, so for anyone that is not familiar with AuthorTube Newbie Tag video, basically what that is just kind of getting to know like an author just a little bit more, right? It's got like maybe 12, 13 questions on it that I'm going to answer. Oh my goodness, this is what waking up does. But yeah. Also, I might have been yelling at karaoke. 1 second. I just chugged my Brita filter. Okay, so, yeah. So let's go ahead and just kind of hop into it. If we get distracted, we get distracted, I guess. So, 1. How did you discover AuthorTube? I discovered AuthorTube kind of like December 2022. I'd started writing as like a joke. I could get into that another time. I barely remember the details anyways. And basically, I was like, I actually like this. I actually like doing this. Right. Granted, I haven't really written before, and my grammar was atrocious at that time. But at the time, I was like, man, I want to get better at this. So I started looking up like YouTube videos and things like that. Ended up landing on like Jenna Moresi as like kind of the first like bit, and got in other people, Abby Evans, Hello Future Me, even Brandon Sanderson. I've never read his books before, till like 2 years ago. Honyada, right? Abby Evans. Did I say that? Savage Books. Yeah. Anyways, it went on from there, and that's how we kind of got into it. And then it made me want to start like another YouTube channel, which I had made called Swole Writer. But we don't use that anymore, and we're just not that swole anymore. So yeah. Anyways, moving on to what genres do you write in? So I write primarily fantasy. I really want to do science fiction, and I've done some writing in science fiction. Granted, nothing's published, but started maybe like 1,000. No, I've started like 100, like little small bits of like from like moments of inspiration. I'm like, oh, write that down, right? But yeah, but primarily fantasy. And when we're talking fantasy, maybe it's kind of like grimdark adjacent, low fantasy. I don't know if my writing counts as like sword and sorcery, but yeah, there's some high fantasy elements, but I like it more closer to like grim and low fantasy. What is my preferred writing tense? Apparently I've had this wrong. I write in past tense, right? All right, hang on, so what is your preferred writing tense, POV, and category of story? Category of story, what does that mean? Preferred writing tense, I tend to write in past tense, right? And then for POV, third person limited is what I generally do. I've tried to do first person. I don't know. It's a little bit harder for me for some reason. I always do third person, and I feel like now sometimes I refer to myself in the third person from all the writing, and that is kind of a little weird, but yeah. Category of story, is it? I think that's yeah. I know what it is, right? We know what it is, right? All right, so basically, I write for adults. What I tend to write is a little bit more gruesome, a little bit more visceral, a little bit more violent. Yeah, and the themes could be a little bit darker too. But yeah, so my writing's for adults. Are you a plotter or pantser, or I guess the hybrid, right? I don't like those terms. But I guess I would fall under pantser. I I just go on moments of like motivation, inspiration, right? Yeah. Do we do any heavy plotting? Sometimes we do now. Sometimes we'll like do plotting, but really we're just kind of winging it, you know. But yeah. Question 5. Why I'm getting distracted by everything. Question 5. Are you self-published, published, or yet to be We're yet to be published. We're yet to be a self-published person. We've been saying I'm gonna publish a book ever since I started, and holy crap, is that like way harder to actually do. But yeah. All right. Dream publishing house or literary agent? I don't know. Anyone, please. With giving me rights to my books and being able to publish it anywhere. We'll find that out later, I guess. I don't know at this time. What kinds of videos? What kind of? I'm going off someone else's video, but what kind of videos can we expect to find on your channel? I don't know. If I'm going to be honest, you're not going to find things that are generally going to be like, one, we got to find videos, right? Which means I got to post more. We have major inconsistency in that regard. But in regards to writing, because just anything and everything's going to be there, because I am kind of just wandering through things at this time. In terms of writing, you're not going to see how to do videos. It's maybe we're going to do more vlogs, and I think it might be fun to talk about the lore and the history of the worlds I've made, and maybe like the inspirations, and kind of, touch on that, right? I think that's what you could expect, is like following me on this journey ordeal. Not like a journey to being published, but the whole channel is just kind of supposed to be following me on this journey as I'm currently just kind of wandering through things. But yeah, it's a wandering ghost, Right. So when did you start writing? I started writing December 2022. As a joke, and then it evolved past a joke, and I ended up discovering I really love writing. I love just creating these little worlds and these characters, and I love to like kind of put like these different kinds of meanings in their lives and their experiences, and maybe one day I hope that people could kind of get a feel what these characters kind of go through. But yeah, no, I just love the writing of it. I don't love editing. That is the number one hurdle for me, is I hate editing. But yeah. Alright. Anyways. Yeah, December 2022. Question 9. Right, question 9. So, what was the first story you ever wrote? The first story I ever wrote was that joke story. Oh my goodness, we're just going to keep touching on that. It was following Vincente, who was at that time kind of just a little bit of a self-insert, kind of overpowered. And then I realized no one would really like this character. I didn't like this character. Yeah, maybe not that much of a self-insert. But the thing was, I was like, who's going to care about this character? He's just showing up as a guy who's able to do like a bunch of things, right? With no like real merit behind it. No real like, yeah, he's like in the sand, like strangling someone, right? But why, right? So it's kind of like, let's go all the way back. And then so that became book 3, and I wrote book 1, then I wrote book 2, and then when it got to 3, I was like, well, book 3 needs a change, right? And then I was like, oh, this is really hard to edit, and then let's move into short stories and stuff. And I like also was writing other things on the side that was like short stories, that was more involved in terms of like science fiction, science fantasy. I did something that kind of felt like a Cowboy Bebop ordeal, right? And at the same time, I was doing like a thing with like mech pilots, right? And then I decided I wanted to write good old Henrik, and Henrik is kind of the short story I'm doing right now. And Henrik, he's kind of like a tall, like good-natured kind of sellsword. He's a man in debt who's trying to pay off he's got student loans, and he got them from the wrong people, and now he has to pay off those student loans, right? Or else he's never going to make it to this higher part of the city where just life is good and you could actually make changes. But he decided to do it as a sellsword because it's a quicker way to get cash, and he's starting to be like, things getting a little spicy out here, I think. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on, right? Question 10. So, what authors have inspired your writing? Well, I would say the GOAT. One, the first book I ever read, I guess outside of the Bible, was The Hobbit, right? The Hobbit, so Tolkien. Yeah, and Two Towers was like my favorite. Love the Urukai. Anyways, big fan of good old Tolkien. Then my all-time favorite author who's inspired me the most is Dan Abnett, who wrote the Gaunt's Ghost series. Kind of ironic because I'm Wandering Ghost, and I've used the nickname Ghost for many things, which came from StarCraft 2 or StarCraft. Regardless, yeah. All right. So Tolkien, Dan Abnett, William King, George. Yeah. So George R.R. Martin, right? I would say Brandon Sanderson. In these last couple of years, his writing's like pretty good, and everyone's been like, "Have you read his books?" I'm like, "Who's this guy?" Yeah, problem. I get it. He's a big deal, and it wasn't until I hopped into writing did I like actually read it. A lot of things from Black Library, right? If you know Black Library, then you can see where the grimdark kind of comes from, right? And that's where Dan Abnett and William King were in, anyways. Who else? There's some. I would like to mention like a lot of YouTubers I enjoy, which I already had mentioned, right? Abby Evans, Savage Books, Hello Future Me. Crap, there's another one. There's like a bunch of other YouTubers, and I can't think. Well, maybe not a bunch. Crap, there's another one. I think he was doing like a lot of like commentary and stuff like that, going into like how Arcane was set up, right? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's all I could think of at this time. There are like a ton of other books, like things from like The Archer's Tale, The Rover, and a lot of game. Yeah, all the Gears of War, Halo, freaking StarCraft books. I really loved reading those growing up. But yeah. Anyways, that's a lot of my inspiration, and I'm continually just inspired like any moment in time whenever I see something that's great. History is a big component of my inspiration as well, right? But that wasn't the question. It was, what authors have inspired your writing? Well, anyways, yeah, so that's that. And also life. Life is also a great experience. Life itself is such a great author. Anyways, 11. Do you schedule your writing sessions? I don't think, who has the time unless you're actually making it, or you have the time. Yeah. You know what? Some people, I stack on way too many hobbies, way too many things to do, plus working, like anyone else, right? So I just write when I get the chance. But yeah. Do you write on a computer, typewriter, or by hand? We write on a computer. And what are you most looking forward to on AuthorTube? Well, what I am most looking forward to, I would have to say, is kind of just getting to know more of the community and maybe getting to like read some other people's works and just getting a little bit involved more in kind of developing my own writing as it goes, right? I really do enjoy just sitting down at like a random cafe and just kind of writing, and I tend to like disappear into moments, right? Because I'll build these scenes and I'm just like in it. But yeah, it would be really nice to kind of get a little bit more involved in the community, and maybe I can make some like good friends or something through like just writing content in general, and just kind of see what happens, right? You know, you're never ready. Just gotta wing it. But anyways, I think that will kind of conclude this video. But yeah, hey, so if you're interested in, I guess, anything, if you're interested in like fantasy, science fiction, and that's kind of stuff you like write and stuff like that, I'd love to connect and maybe, you know, like see what your work is like, and like talk, compare, and just see like how you were building up your worlds and what was like the thought process behind that, you know, because I think just the thought process like is very enriching. Like I'll think of like, all right, we gotta build like this character. It's like, okay, where is he from, right? Is he from this part in the world, or are we going to develop something new? And it's like, okay, why are they there, right? What are the reasons that they do this? How's the social yeah, and I love all that, you know, and I think it's pretty, it's pretty fun. But yeah, anyways, I appreciate your time, and matane.